Yeah. And Helen, you're right about one thing for sure, maybe two things. I am a bit of an ass kicker, which is kind of just what you need when you're talking to somebody about your sales and when you're talking to somebody about helping you grow your business is you need that accountability. So that is my favorite thing to do, whether you like it or not. And the other thing is it is not too late in 2025 to make a massive impact on your bottom line. So if you're here today because you're thinking like there is a gap and I'm not even sure how to manage it, that's okay. It's not a big deal. We can get that sorted out, and get you bringing in some of those numbers that you were expecting to bring in when you did all that forecasting for the beginning of the year. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen. A couple of things about when I talk. I am happy for interruption. I'm happy for questions. I'm happy to, in the moment, if something jogs you and you think like, yeah, I had a situation like that and I don't know how I would have responded to it. I'm really happy to have that engagement. I think it's everybody's benefit to hear those circumstances and have us be really open about what's working and what's not, and be able to troubleshoot as you're going in terms of, yeah, this circumstance came up and I don't know how to fix it, or I have this sales call tomorrow and I don't know how to close it. Let's have that conversation today so you're walking away with those skills for tomorrow. Okay? All right. So we're going to start off with just this to give you kind of an idea of where we're headed. Who am I? We're going to talk about that a little bit. Then we're going to talk about who is this for? And then I'm going to speak. There's a big gap in the middle, and that's all of the knowledge that I'm going to hopefully bestow on to you guys today and give you that opportunity to really think about your sales in a different way. And then at the end of the day, I'm going to say to you, you need to text me and I'm going to send you homework, which is 5 questions that will allow you to really evaluate where you are. So, kind of a mini sales audit from that CEO perspective of evaluating where you are, being really objective about it, and then digging into, and what do I do about it? So, I don't want you to miss that opportunity. Just send me a text. I'm going to text you right back. It's me. There's no automation. It's just me having a conversation with you and giving you that homework so that you can get to the next step. Okay, who am I? So I want you to think about me as your wing woman. So we're going to talk about sales today in relation to dating, because that's a circumstance almost all of us have found ourselves in at some point, right? Some of you are going to have been married for 1,000 years, like I am. Some of you are going to be, knee deep in dating right now. But we all remember what that was like, trying to find that person, your person out in the world. And some days prospective clients feel like it's as hard as finding your person, right? So we're going to talk about that in that area today. And I'm going to be the person who is like helping you make it happen when you're out there having a cocktail. I'm going to be the woman in the background or in the back of your head now saying, "Hey, this is how you go. Don't forget how to do this." So, I myself, I have a lot of years of experience now in corporate and entrepreneurial sales leadership. I am helping business owners all of the time with their sales. So helping them either train themselves, train their team, getting them to the point where they're closing the deals that they want to be closing, whether that is a visibility problem on the front end, that they don't have enough clients or enough potential clients, or whether that is a closing the clients thing. So it's just a sales skill thing, which is awesome because we can learn that, or whether that is a financial management of your business on the back end. I also help with that. So that is where I'm coming from. I'm making sure that you're increasing your revenue when you talk to me so that you're actually changing the bottom line, which of course should be changing how much money is in your jeans, which is the name of the game. Okay. Who needs this? Okay, you guys are going to recognize yourselves here. If you are tired of never having people call, so your phone is quiet, you're not getting any leads, or when you do get leads, you certainly don't know what to do with them. You have conversations at networking groups that people are super interested and then kind of ghost you. Like, what is happening there? We don't understand. You are wasting time. You're wasting time with sales conversations that are just not going anywhere because you're misreading the signals and you're not being able to clearly kind of evaluate whether they're the right fit, as you're going through things. The other one is, and this is a big one, I hear it all the time, I don't want to seem salesy. And so a lot of us, what we do when we don't want to seem salesy is we like legit don't sell anything. So we are very reluctant to put ourselves out there and try and find clients and try and talk to them about what we have to offer. And as a result, then we don't sell anything. Okay. So if you're falling into any of or all of these categories, you're in the right place today, you guys. We're going to get this sorted. Has anybody, just raise your hands in the chat. Does anybody have a circumstance that they can maybe self-identify in any of these categories? Throw me a little thumbs up or a crying emoji, whatever might be most appropriate. Okay. So some of you, yeah, okay, I see that. Some of you are in that place or willing to self-identify. Okay, I want you to think about this today that sales is in the context of dating. We are looking to build connection. We are looking to watch the signals. We are looking to move at a reasonable and correct pace. So, when you think correct pace, sometimes we end up in that place where we meet a person, they show us the slightest bit of interest, and all of a sudden we're down this path of what our children would look like, or what our wedding would look like, or how great it will be to buy that house in Galveston. Okay, we want to take a step off the gas and really think about, are we doing this? Are we over assuming that people are saying yes to us long before they're actually saying yes? And then do we stop the pursuit? Oftentimes I'll see business owners where they get a positive piece of reinforcement from a potential client, and then they kind of stop with the dating, the wooing, that piece of it. And as a result, it ends up kind of going cold. So I want you to be thinking about that in the context of everything we talk about today and how that could be relevant. Lead gen. First and foremost, we cannot find potential clients sitting on our couch. Now, that's not exactly true in that we've got the web, we've got social media, we've got all of those things. But if we are a passive observer in any of these circumstances, so we're at home on the couch, we're at a networking group sitting beside our friends and not talking to anybody new, we are on social media, but we're a little bit we do a lot of scrolling, we do a lot of looking, we send a post out there and we just hope it's a big enough net and it captures everybody and pulls them into us. And we're kind of expecting all of the tools that are out there to do the work. That is not going to work, right? It doesn't work in dating. You can't just show up on your couch. You can't just swipe right, swipe left, whatever direction you're meant to be swiping, and expect that people are then going to actually show up at your door, ring the doorbell, and take you for a drink. That's just not how it works. So when we think about sales in this context, this is about visibility and compounding. So, all of the actions that we're doing to get leads or to put ourselves out there compounds. We put posts out on social media. We also need to be engaging with our own posts, our own commenters. We need to be engaging in other people's posts that have relevant audiences. We need to be responding to every comment. We need to be literally engaging, right? The same as when you go to a party and you're trying to meet a special someone, you need to get out there. You need to go stand beside the keg. You need to sit there with one of those red solo cups and you need to have a conversation with somebody. And it's probably going to be awkward and you're probably going to sound like a bit of a dork and you're going to feel really uncomfortable. And that's okay. And we have to do that over and over again. And we become very reluctant as business owners to go stand by the keg and hold the cup and look like a dork because it doesn't feel great. We have to do that over and over and over again until we put ourselves in front of the right person, the person who's actually seeking our services. We can spend a lot of time banging on doors where people are, let's say for the dating analogy, they're happily married. You're banging on all these doors. Hey, do you want to go out? Hey, do you want to go out? No, they're already with somebody. It's not going to happen. When you think about yourself, right? If you're a financial advisor, for instance, you're a financial advisor and you are talking to people and they're already very happy with their current planner. That's so much harder for you to get a new client if they're happy with their current provider. Now, if they are unhappy, there's an opening there, right? You can be a provider that can help. But when you think about your lead generation time over the course of a week or the course of a month, how much of it is spent by you talking to people who are actively and currently seeking your services? Are you doing that enough when you come to NIA events? Are you doing that enough when you go to that Chamber of Commerce event? Whatever that is you're doing, I want you to really start thinking, geez, am I standing by the keg and having awkward conversations? Or am I inadvertently hanging out with my friends over here by the music and not talking to anybody I didn't know before I got here? Those people already know who you are. They know what you do, or they should. And that's not going to be your source of sales. Here's another one. Don't propose over appetizers. We cannot literally be like, and will you marry me in the first second? We have all experienced this. You walk into a room at a networking event and somebody comes up and you literally have said hello to them, right? That's the beginning. Hello. And they turn around and start telling you like everything about their business and how their offer is great and how it would be a great fit for you. They don't even know your name yet, arguably, unless you have a name tag on. They don't know what you're doing, and they certainly don't know if you have a problem that you're looking for a solution. We have all been on the receiving end of that. And honestly, we've probably all been guilty of that to some extent in our networking. We get very excited when somebody seems remotely interested, and we kind of like get really into it. And it doesn't help, and it turns people off. And then we don't understand why that great conversation we had at networking didn't translate into a phone call. And usually the reason is because you had a great conversation, except for the other person wasn't as much in participation as you were. So when you think about that and you think about as a CEO business owner and you're like, okay, am I doing this? Are my salespeople doing this? Are we looking for indications of that person's asking me a follow-up question? I tell them a thing and they're asking me a follow-up question. That follow-up question is a symbol that I am interested. Keep going. Don't stop talking about this. You can set this up in networking situations or in sales situations with asking the question to them originally that you really want them to ask to you. That creates that reciprocal arrangement that humans have in a social setting where it's like, hey, how's your day? Oh, my day's great. How's yours? We inevitably get that reciprocal question that's somewhat what we're looking for. When we're selling, when we're out there meeting people, and somebody says, hi, and you say, hey, Hillary, it's great to meet you. How are you? And she says, oh, I'm great. How are you? And I say, oh, I'm great, except for all I do is drive my kids around. And she laughs because she knows. And then I say to Hillary, so Hillary, what do you do? Tell me a little bit about your business. I am telling for two reasons, right? I am telling or asking that of Hillary because I am interested in human beings. That's why I'm doing this, right? And secondly, I know Hillary's going to ask me back, and it's going to give me an opportunity to hear what she does, evaluate. My goal as somebody who works on this a lot is I am thinking, who do I know that needs to know Hillary? Who can I connect her with? Who in my network would she be a really good match for, either as a collaborator or a potential client? Or who have I heard lately that has her exact problem that she has the solution for? That is what is going through my brain when you guys are telling me what you do. I'm assuming that that's what you guys are all thinking too. And what I want you to start thinking is the more you can do it like that, the more that that's your filter as people are speaking to you about what they do, the higher conversions at a cold networking group that you're going to get in terms of interested conversations going forward. If I have an ability after that first time I meet Hillary to connect her with somebody that's a great fit for that printer problem she was having, I now have done two things. I've shown her that I'm reliable, right? And I've shown her that I am connected to people that can be connected to her. Our human nature is, I would like to repay that. I would like to be able to send somebody to Sam that would be helpful, that she would enjoy. And I listen to her when she said what she does. And now I'm starting to think about who I can engage with. This is how these kind of events where you don't know people become valuable, even if you're not walking away from a client with a client. And if you take the pressure off of having to get a client in these events or in these meetings, you're a much more palatable person to talk to because you're not trying to sell me. You're trying to talk to me. And that is very different, right? Does that make sense to everybody in terms of how they have interacted and what their kind of experience has been? Yeah. Okay. Can you guys see where perhaps you're doing it a little bit wrong? Can there be that self-reflection and be like, oh crap, yeah, maybe I am being too forward. Maybe I'm being too aggressive. Maybe I'm reading the signals with a filter of like, I really need a client today because I need to make some sales. We all do this, and as long as we're auto-correcting as we go, it's fine. Okay. So remember, you can yell out with questions if we have any, okay?
I don't
When
have
we
a
get,
question. I don't have a
yeah.
question, Samantha, but I want to tell you, I love the analogy. It's so, you don't too strong dating, and you don't come on too strong selling. And whether you like it or not, we're all in sales. Thank
Oh,
you.
yeah.
This is a great presentation.
Thank you. Thank you. I think it's true. I think um there is that realization where all business owners are their best salesperson. And if they are not their best salesperson, we have a much bigger problem, right? It's hard to train salespeople below you if you're not exceptional at sales already. And it's certainly hard to sell anything if we haven't kind of honed our craft. We're all very good at what we're producing or what we're selling, the actual tangible service that we're providing for people. But we really kind of hamstring ourselves when if we can't talk about it well and we can't put ourselves out there and we can't sell it, you're like that little best known secret to yourself. Like, I am an amazing whatever. I am an amazing residential painter. And no one knows because I don't tell anybody. And so I don't have enough clients and I'm not growing enough. And eventually we get to that point of like, why am I even doing this? It's making me so depressed. And then we start thinking about needing to get a job, right? I think most entrepreneurs are like, oh, yeah, I've done that. That's been me in the wee hours of the night occasionally. If we start thinking about, I'm already excellent at what I do, I'm not excellent at sales, and leaning into how can I be a better salesperson, you're going to see that pay leaps and bounds more than just getting better at your craft, whatever your craft might be. Okay.
So there aren't questions, but there's a couple comments in the
Cool.
on the chat. Hillary says the hard sale is such a turnoff in a networking scenario. And Suzanne says I came up with a networking acronym FUN. F, find a fun fact about them. U, useful. How can you be useful to them? Find something they need or want. And nurture the relationships by
Yeah.
following up. That's a good one.
That's really good. I love an acronym and I especially love a short one, right? Makes it really easy to remember. Um, and there's something so important there, right? Is putting ourselves out there. And I know like Moose talks about this all the time and Scott talks about it, but like being in service to others is what will create more coming back to you. And that can feel counterintuitive when we're just like, yes, but I need to make $22,000 in sales this month because I need to pay my overhead. Okay, valid. We have that problem. Or it's $200,000 this month. Doesn't matter what that number is. We all feel that pressure. But if we can get out of that pressury feeling when we're selling, when we're having conversations, it goes a long way. So when you're thinking about presenting the offer, right? So now somebody's actually like, "Yeah, I'll go out with you. We've chatted a little bit. We've done a little texting, whatever that might be." My kids now are teenagers and they say we're talking, which is code for just starting to get to know each other, I think. I hope. But so they're just talking. Now we're getting to the point of like, now we're going to go somewhere together and we're going to be sitting across from each other at a table or sitting beside each other in a bowling alley and getting ready to have this date. We're presenting the offer. So always, always, when we're talking about sales in this way and we're talking about presenting ourselves, it is, I am the solution to your problem. It is not anything about us, our product, our service. It's actually 100% about what is the problem they're trying to solve? How motivated are they to try and solve it right now? Like, is this a today problem or is this a like, yeah, sure, it would be nice to have, but you're like number 6 in the ranking? If it's a today problem that they're ready to invest in, whether it's time or money, then you are selling the solution. You are not selling I meet you 3 times and it's 45 minutes in length, or you get this booklet, or I print you off this fancy report. Nobody cares. Nobody cares. And it's the same in dating. They want to know that they're going to have fun with you. They want to know that you have the same sense of humor. They want to know that you think it's ridiculous when this happens, or that you are a person who finds slapstick comedy very funny, or that you think it's absolutely ridiculous and dumb. Either way, they want to know that. You are the solution to their problem of, I am lonely. I am looking for somebody to hang out with that I enjoy. When you're dating, that's what you're looking for, right? When you're selling, you're looking for, I have a problem and I need a solution. Is the solution you offer the thing that will actually solve my problem? If we start talking in those terms, finding out first and foremost, what is the client problem that they're trying to solve in their own words? What do they need? What are they trying to remedy in their lives? And we start speaking back to them about how this is my offer. This is exactly what I do. I help people figure out how to sell to their clients and increase revenue by 25%. If my goal is to increase my bottom line revenue 25%, and I'm saying I can do that for you and I follow through, most of you will not care how I made you do it, right? Most of you are like, okay, so what do I need to do? And I'm like, you have to go to your neighborhood pool and you have to swim 40 laps a day. And you're like, I don't know how that's relevant. It doesn't matter. If it increases your revenue by 25% and 25% is what you're looking for, I promise you, most of you would get in the pool. So remember that when you're talking to people, you're looking to find what are they needing and then what is your solution. That's how we're selling. We're not selling on like facts and details. Does that make sense? Yeah. Okay.
It does.
Okay. So listening first, right? It is listening ears before talking at all times. Okay. And this is the other part is, so we've met them. We've had awkward conversations with a whole bunch of people till we weeded out that we have somebody that we think is palatable. We like them. We're going to hang out. We're going to go bowling. We go to the bowling alley. We listen to them. We figure out what they're looking for. We have the same sense of humor. We also love mozzarella sticks and hate beer, whatever it might be. And so now we're enjoying each other, enjoying each other's company. And now we've dropped them back off at their house. That was great. We think it was wonderful. We're sure they're going to want the next date. We're sure they're all in, except for we never call them. Right? This is like that business card that's burning a hole on the corner of your desk right now, or in the bottom of your purse right now, or in your car when you get back in after a networking event and you just shove it, in the wherever you might be. It might be your cup holders. Y'all know what I'm talking about. You don't text them, you don't follow up, you don't re-engage, and you've ghosted them. And now they're sitting there thinking bowling was great. What the hell happened? What happened to these people? We're not going to get the sale on the first conversation. So if we're not willing to continue the conversation and continue the engagement, we're not going to get the sale. And I think we forget that. I think we forget that people like to be wined and dined over time before we agree to marry somebody. We need to have somebody that is willing to put in some time, engage with us. And that's different for every industry. But if you do this properly, if you follow up with them, if you pay attention to the signals that they're giving you, and if you have the solution for the thing they're actually seeking in the right time, and or they have a problem and you're number 5 on their priority list. And that's okay. But we're going to just keep them in our sphere, right? We're going to keep engaging. We're going to just know that one day they're going to need me. It's not today, but I will be around when they're ready. And if we keep that nurturing, that following up, that re-engagement, you'll keep the spark alive and you'll have a much better chance for it to end in a positive way at the end of the day. How many of you, give me a number in the chat out of 5, 1 being I'm a terrible follow-up person, and 5 being I am the queen or king of following up. Where do you guys sit? I want to actually see numbers in there though. Look it. Oh, okay. Daryl, good job. Oh, yeah, Hillary, okay. An 8. Bold, Matt. I will actually say I know Matt personally, and he does have a lot of systems, both automatic and personal. So he's got a lot of automation in his business that works really well, and he has a lot of personal follow-up that he does. So if you have follow-up questions, Matt is a great guy to ask. I like that you got an 8 in there, Matt. That's great. Okay, let's see here. Okay, so in my 1 to 5, you guys are putting yourselves pretty high. Some of you are right at the bottom. Okay. Dina, I'm getting better. Good job. Okay. Who's gonna be brave? Who wants to kind of chat with me and tell me why follow-up feels hard? Okay, Daniel, I don't know.
Hey.
Oh, good. I can hear you. Awesome. Tell me
Yeah,
why it feels hard.
so for me, it's kind of I don't want to chase anybody.
How
Like,
come?
well, because I think it's an equal partnership. So as an accountant, what I do is not a transactional thing, it's more relationship based. So
Mm-hmm.
after the initial meeting, which usually lasts about an hour, and we do the
Yeah.
finding out the pain points and explaining what I think might be a good course of action. At the end of it, I'll leave them with all the information they need to make a decision. And if at the end of it they're not motivated enough to move forward, I'm like, maybe not my client. So
Okay.
that's a pretty consistent pattern for me, which
Okay.
I'm not saying it's right. I'm just saying it is what it is.
Yeah. Do you want it to be different? Like, do you want your sales numbers to be different, or is the
Sure.
sales okay? So what if that person leaves your office and thinks that was an amazing meeting? Like he seems to really know what he's talking about. It seems great. Um, but I felt dumb. I don't know the questions to ask. I always feel when I talk to an accountant, they're so smart and so knowledgeable, and I don't know. I don't know. What if that's how they're leaving the office as opposed to how you want them to feel, which is empowered to make that decision?
Sure. That's a possibility that they're either intimidated or overwhelmed with the amount of information. It's possible.
Yeah. Yeah. And so if we're not following up with those people, and not, of course, to say that you are making them feel that way. I think just a lot of us have those internal angsty things that are not directly what we're telling them. But in that case, if you followed up and just said, like, hey, I know after that it was kind of a fire hose discussion. I gave you so much information. Um, just wanted to ask you, it's been 24 hours. Did you have any follow-up questions? Were there any pieces we didn't cover? Or would you like to know next steps? Does that feel reasonable to you? Like not pushy and
Yeah. Yeah.
snarky?
Yeah, no. So it's not, yeah, no, that feels like not a values misalignment. Yeah, no, that's definitely something doable. I appreciate the suggestion.
Yeah. Yeah. Cause I just think so often you're not alone. There are so many business owners that we don't want to feel like a greasy sleazeball salesperson, right? We don't want to feel like I'm twisting somebody's arm into making a decision that's not right for them. All of us that I believe all of NIA members are acting in integrity and they are trying to be good people in the world. And we're trying to provide a service for the people that want it. But we are doing ourselves and our bottom line a disservice by not following up. And we're doing the potential clients a disservice if they're not going to be the instigator. We're forcing them into the instigator position if we never follow up again. And for any of you that have ever been in that position where we have a problem in our business in particular, like a business to business situation, if you have a problem in your business and you're seeking an expert to help you, you already feel a bit of a dumbass because you've let this problem, whatever it is, get so bad that now you need outside help, or you didn't figure it out in the first place, or you don't know how to do it at all. And it's vulnerable to put that out there, and it's vulnerable to kind of disclose all your stuff, right? And this works in whether it's accounting or financial planning. This is a big problem in that industry as well. We get squeamish when it comes to money or numbers, or whether we feel foolish in the light of needing help, right? Um, and so if we can think about it that way, I hope that makes it easier for all of you that said it's hard to do feedback and follow up, that maybe it's not about us. Maybe it's about them. And that puts the onus on, like, we're great at what we do. We should share that more and make sure that they're well taken care of, be it us or someone else.
Thanks, Samantha. That helps a lot. Appreciate it.
Okay, cool. Anybody else have a circumstance that they can think of where following up feels really hard or they don't know how to do it? Speaking of vulnerability. Okay. So one of the parts of follow-up that falls through the cracks a lot for business owners is there's a lot of moving parts and ways that we can be following up. It doesn't always have to be a phone call or an email. It can be an automated system. It can be something where it is, hey, it was great to meet with you today. If you have any questions, let me know. That can be a text message. It can be an automated text message. So if you have a situation where you have like Calendly or something like that that's booking sales calls for you, you can be putting those follow-up pieces in place where you're not having to manage it. But I would also say this is time when you start to think about, like, this person said, not right now. They didn't say, heck no, I'm never going to hire you. This is a terrible solution to my problem. I would never use it. They said it doesn't fit for whatever reason. And we're not going to get in the nitty gritty of, like, are there objections you're not paying attention to? We're not going to get into that, but we can have that conversation offline. But when you have somebody who is kind of not right now, how many of you are really good about putting them in the calendar to be like, touch base again in a month, touch base again at the end of the quarter? And if we put it in the calendar or in a notebook or wherever we're doing that, how many of you are consistent and diligent in making those follow-ups so that you just stay top of mind? Is anybody doing that really well?
I would say I'm doing that pretty well for the most part.
Mhm.
The biggest challenge has been maybe having set it out so far to not know how motivated they are for me to check in and make sure it's still something they care about. I have a lot of self-doubt around it. Like, am I now just at a point where I feel salesy about this and I've only talked about business with them instead of personal, to actually really rekindle that connection as a person and trying to help them, not someone who's trying to, fill their pocket with something,
Yeah.
That's my challenge with that.
Okay, so what if it could be both? What if those touch points are, hey, I just had a client call with Bob, and he reminded me, his story reminded me very much of you. And I just wanted to touch base. I know that you hadn't been ready to move forward with that life insurance policy before,
Mhm.
but I didn't want to let it slip through the cracks. I know how important it was for you to get a solution in place. Have you found a solution yet?
Yeah, that's a good suggestion.
Yeah. And then if
I'll
they
write that
say,
down.
no, I haven't, then you're like, is it still a priority to get that done this year, this month, whatever their time frame, whatever that, condition that they gave you, or
Hmm.
you can make an assumption if you don't have one. But
Yeah,
that
that's really good.
circles it back, but it's coming from a place of care and concern. And yes,
Yeah.
you're trying to make money. We all need to let go of the idea, and this isn't just you, Matt, this is everybody, myself included. It is okay to care about people and make money. It is okay. It is okay. It doesn't make you a shitty person if you want to make more money. It doesn't make you a bad person if you want to increase your revenue, your wealth, even like all the way trickle it right to your pocket. If you want to buy
Mhm.
a bigger house because you work really hard and you sell more people, that is not a bad thing. And sometimes we get caught in this dichotomy of like, if I want to sell more, or I want to make more money, or I want to be rich, right? This becomes a money mindset question. What is my association with somebody who's rich?
Right.
A lot of us have that undertone somewhere back in our history of like rich equals something negative, and therefore a person who wants to become more wealthy, a person who wants to make more sales in their business, a person who wants a bigger paycheck, right? We can kind of parse it down, is somehow bad, as opposed to I want to help more people be secure financially and make sure that they are taking care of the risk that they may encounter, right? When you're talking about insurance.
Mhm. Right. That's great. No, I'm writing
Yeah.
that down. Thank you.
Yeah. I think that's one thing everybody can think about is like, how do I feel about making more money? How do I feel about being disgustingly wealthy? How does that feel to me? And I want you to get it so far down the path of like, I could buy 5 islands. That's how wealthy I am. How do I feel about that? If you're getting a gross kind of feeling, you have a feeling about money, which is probably hindering your ability to make sales. So it's something to look into. It's something to dig into as a business owner and kind of find out, why does it feel so bad to be salesy? Why is salesy so negative of a connotation? What if I flip it to be, I am the most helpful person that I know in my industry to make sure that everybody is safe and secure with whatever product or service I provide? That feels a lot better, right? Does anybody else have any issues around, well, might be money mindset coming up now that I've said that, but if not money mindset, talking about following up or any success stories in following up, like any clients that you followed up with so late in the game that you thought you'd just be laughed at? Anybody ever done that? No.
Yeah, I've
Okay.
done that.
All right.
And it's actually worked out really well to still
Uh-huh.
follow up.
And did you kind of like tongue in cheek be like, hey, yeah, it's Matt. I'm calling. I said I was going to call 6.5 months ago, and well, I
Yes.
dropped the ball. Like, were you like that and just kind of put it right out there of like,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm terrible. So sorry.
Yeah, it made it actually a lot easier to have the conversation with them. And it actually went through. Like, no, I actually still haven't taken care of it and I'm still interested. So let's take care of it now. It's like awesome.
Yeah. And I think we get in our own way so frequently. That's happened to me too, where I have followed up with something like embarrassingly late. And I do the same thing. I toss myself directly under the bus. I have no issue with kind of saying it, this is on me. I suck. I dropped the ball. Sometimes I'll throw my kids under the bus and be like, 4 kids, it's very busy, but I try not to give them the excuse, make them the excuse all the time. But when you do that, you know what the other person is thinking immediately? Oh, I do that too. Or, oh, I should call that person back. I've been meaning to call back. Sam did it and it was fine and I didn't care. I could do it too. We all do that. So when you look at that big pile of business cards or that big list that you have in a running list in a notebook, I want you to go back through and be like, I'm going to challenge myself that by the end of October, I'm going to have reached out to all those people and just feel a little awkward about the fact that you should have done it a while ago and whoops, it's okay. They've done it too, right? But there's a lot of money sitting in that pile of business cards that you haven't engaged with. There's a lot of money sitting there and you're letting it just sit there. So you could throw them in the recycle bin if you'd prefer, but I would suggest making the calls.
I have a
Okay.
story, but on the client end of it, it just
Yeah.
happened. I have a almost 5-month-old baby, and I wasn't gonna do newborn pictures. And then when he turned 1 month, I regretted it, and I reached out to a couple people, um, and I saw one answer. I didn't see the answer of the one I wanted the most, and then late I found out last week that I didn't see her email, but she sent a very thoughtful email. But I
Mm-hmm.
know this, and I found out last week because she did follow up, and she was just asking, "Hey, how you doing?" And I ended up booking his 6 month appointment with her. But I
Uh-huh.
wouldn't have seen it had she not followed up with me.
Right. Right. If she hadn't followed up with you, that was money out of her pocket. She wouldn't have made the sale. And now you've had an engagement, or when you're going to do the 6 month photo shoot, you will have had an engagement with her. And now she can blow you out of the water with her skill. And guess what? You're going to need that 1 year photo shoot. That's coming up. Right. And so
Right.
and that opportunity, I imagine if she had followed up more closely. So here's an example. If she had followed up with you 1 week after sending that original email, would you have already had photos done, or would you be booking her?
Yes, because the other person, I lucked out because the other one, she actually had a cancellation the next day.
Okay.
She was,
Yeah.
yeah, but
Yeah.
probably, and
Yeah.
all email, probably a minute of her time,
Yeah.
and she got business for next month. So
Yeah. Yeah. And if she had followed up in a like the first day, the third day, the seventh day, the 10th day, she probably would have gotten the original booking too.
right, correct.
Right. So how many of you right now are sitting here going like, oh, that's probably somebody right now that you were thinking, maybe a week ago, you were thinking, I really should follow up with that person. And then it felt awkward and you didn't. Did they go to the other person? Did they choose a different fractional CFO? Did they go to a different financial advisor? Like what happened? Or do they still need that service and they're hanging around waiting for you to show back up at the keg? Okay. Okay. So now we're going to talk about closing the deal. You want to be looking for, and this is really important in this world where not all of us have a really long closing structure, right? You're not necessarily having to have 3 meetings to close a deal. Maybe you're closing sales on social media. Maybe you're closing sales via email. You're not even necessarily having to do the like song and dance face-to-face dating, if we're thinking about it in that way. You have to look for the buying signals. And where most people are missing the mark that I see often, in particular online, is someone will put a post out and it's great and it's engaging and people are interested in it. And on Instagram, let's just talk about Instagram for a second, but on Instagram, you will see who liked the post. And you know how it has that little heart and it has like all the names of people that hearted your thing. So that's the person at the stand-up networking meeting that you say, I am a business consultant and I work with sales and I help people get more sales in their business. This is what I've said to them. And all of those people in that little circle surrounding me at a face-to-face networking group are like, oh, that's great. That sounds good. I like that. Interesting. That's what those hearts are. Most of us don't do anything with those. We don't comment back. We don't go follow the person. We don't engage in their stuff. We don't reach out and say, hey, I saw you like the post. Is there any questions that I can answer? Hey, I saw you like the post. I have this podcast episode that is exactly about that topic. I thought it might be relevant. Wanted to share it with you. We're not like, hey, do you want to become my coaching client? Like, don't be weird. Don't do that. But there is a place for opening a dialogue and creating a conversation. I also see business owners where somebody will say in a post, they make a comment and they say, how would I book an appointment? And nobody looks at the comments and nobody goes back there and nobody answers Cecilia's question about how she books an appointment. And Cecilia goes and finds someone else to do whatever it is she's talking about. This is looking for the buying signals. This is seeing where people in your network already, in your current marketing efforts that you're taking, they're already saying they're interested and you're ignoring them. And you're certainly, if you're not actively ignoring them, you're just not even acknowledging them. So they're going to scroll to the next person that's talking about the thing you talk about. They're going to engage. That person's going to reach back out and they're going to be like the photographer and they're going to get the business. And your window of opportunity was gone. So if you pretend that when you're looking at the engagement you have online in your business dealings, if you pretend like that is somebody sitting at a dinner with you saying to you, I am really interested in going out again. This was fun. That makes it different. It makes it worthwhile having those conversations and getting better at engaging in just conversation in the DMs or online in that way. Does that make sense for everybody? Yeah. Okay. Anytime people are asking you questions about this, the process, the structure, how you operate with clients, they're looking for more information. They're asking you to provide more information because they're interested. Don't miss that. And sometimes it's harder to catch online, but it still exists. Yeah. Yeah. Matt's comment on the chat there of my story that I did where I'll tell this story. This is a good one. I stole the jar of business cards. I was a student intern person looking for a job. I was like 20, and I went to the public relations event of the year, whatever the association kind of event, and I was the guest table. I was signing people in, and it was strategic, guys, because everybody put their business card in for a draw. And at the end of the night, we drew the gift and away it went to whoever that was. And I took the container of business cards because I needed a job. And so I had a list of every PR professional, agency owner in the city I was living in, and I called them over the next 2 weeks. And I said, hey, I was at the event, I was at the welcome table. We didn't get to talk very much. I wanted to connect. I'm currently looking for a position. Would you be interested in having a cup of coffee? It is very, very effective to do that. And that's me trying to find a job, but that's no different than me trying to find a client or you guys trying to find a client. How many numbers or people connections do we have that we're just not closing the deal on because we're just not taking the time to do it? We get real busy with the current client work sometimes, and that distracts us from our most important job, which we talked about already, which is being the best salesperson in your business, right? Okay. So the last little bit here, I want to open this up to questions and dialogue afterwards, but I want you to recognize the green lights. We've talked about a lot of them, right? There is a lot of information here in how can I start kind of putting every conversation I have through a strainer and figuring out who's getting caught up in the strainer because they have questions or they're engaged or they're interested. Likes, shares, DMs, asking about the process, the pricing. What other clients have you worked for? They want to do a little research. They want some more information. They want to know about you, but they're interested. They're intrigued. Um, Requesting info. I mean, if we're letting emails go that are requesting info or mentioning start date, that stop doing that right now. I want you to be spotting them. I want you to be responding, and I want you to feel really confident that you are a person who is providing an exceptional service or an exceptional product that helps people that have that exact problem. And if you can get up and look yourself in the mirror and know that you're acting ethically and you feel good about it and you know what you're delivering is amazing, then it's hard to be salesy or I don't want to follow up because I'm going to get annoying, that can start to disintegrate a little bit. We can start to feel really good about what we're providing as opposed to as if somehow you could convince someone to buy something from you if they didn't want to. Because unless you've got a tire iron and you're meeting them in the back of a parking lot and breaking their legs, you're not convincing anybody to buy from you. You're not that powerful. People are purchasing from you because they see your solution as the solution to what they're looking for. We shouldn't be afraid to share that information. Okay. Okay. The right match is worth it. Taking the time to go back through all of your information, back through those business cards, back through your last 10 networking meetings and thinking about who you met and how you could engage in that way, it is worth it. We're building trust by continuing to stay top of mind by engaging in that way. And the green lights are telling us, go forward, make the offer, propose already, right? We're ready for that. You guys are capable of increasing your sales significantly by just doing that without having to find even new humans. Start with the ones that are the low-hanging fruit that are close to you. If you want to screenshot this, you can. This is my contact information. So if you want to track me down, if you have any other additional questions, please reach out. I am always happy to have the conversation. If I can help, I'm happy to do so. If you have a problem, I'm happy to chat about it. And then on the next slide, I'm going to say, I really encourage you to do this. I would go through the homework verbatim right now, but I think there's value in, hey, I'm asking you to engage with me. So let's see how that goes. But text me. Text me to that number. I will, oh, Matt, thank you. I will answer, I will send you the questions. This is a self-assessment for yourselves so that you can really evaluate, like, where am I going wrong? What do I need to change? And how can I start implementing this? Matt, I appreciate that. We've been working together and yeah, it's been great. And he's had some fantastic results. So if you're sitting at the end of the year here and you're like, I'm not going to get any sales, it's the busy time of year for people, nobody buys in Q4. I want you to really think about that. Don't give up now, but if you need help, then reach out. I am here. I will help you. We can change those numbers before 2026. Okay. Okay, I'm going to open the floor. I don't know how much longer. I wasn't even watching the. Oh, that's not bad. Okay. I want to open the floor to questions or comments or great stories of sales success or epic stories of sales failure. It doesn't matter. What do you got?
You have a shout out in the chat by Matt.
Yes, I saw that. He and I have been working together and yeah, he's made some big strides. So I appreciate the shout out. That is big. That is big. Okay, Daniel, I see your hand is up.
Sorry. Thanks. Hey, I'm looking for a more refined way to accept a referral. So here's a typical thing that'll happen.
Yeah.
I have a tax strategy client. I send them the tax strategy thing. They send it to their person. That person likes what I'm doing. Say, hey, are you taking referrals? I'd like to refer you some people. And then I'm really flattered, but like I don't have a really smooth way to respond back with yes.
Okay. What works really well is if you send them essentially what would be considered a swipe file. So you're going to send them the text or however you think they're communicating with those potential referrals, that allows them to introduce you without having to think too hard about what to say. So you're going to say to them like, hey, here's a quick text that you can send on my behalf. It's very helpful. Or here's a quick email. So I do this all the time where I will have, say, if I'm sending you a referral, Daniel, I'm going to refer you Matt. So I'm going to type in a message and say like, hey, Daniel, I wanted to refer you Matt. He is in the market for a tax strategy. And I wanted to connect the two of you. I know you'll hit it right off. You're both CC'd on this email. And then I'm going to say, hey, Matt, here's Daniel's contact information. I wanted to introduce you to each other. I think it'll be a great fit about the tax strategies we've been talking about. I'll leave you guys to it. Away you go. And then I like bow out of that email chain, right? I'm no longer part of that. But that means that Matt gets over there and you get connected with him. So if you can do the same for your clients, where you can send it to that client who says, I've got referrals, and you can say, like, here's a paragraph to use. My friend Daniel is great at this tax strategy. We've been talking about it lately. He's definitely open to referral, whatever that would be. But that kind of a like hold their hand and make it easy. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. Thank you for the guidance.
Yeah, you're welcome. Much more eloquent. A warm handoff would be how we call that. I like it. Okay. Anybody else have any struggles or successes? Let's hear a sales win. Who's had a good sales win lately? Oh, guys, you really needed me here today, huh? Nobody has a win? All right. So everybody text me. We'll talk. It's fine. Okay. Well, I don't want to keep you and just keep asking probing questions for, oh, Star, there you go. Hey, Star, how's it going?
It is going fine. So I want to share a win.
Perfect.
I have been doing what Samantha is talking about, what Tony always talks about, um, having conversations to connect with people, find out what they're doing, what they're up to, think about who you can connect them to. I had one of those calls on Monday, or I had one of those calls on Friday. And of course, after I drilled them, find out all that information, she asked about me, and I, a public speaking and presentation coach. She's like, oh, I think I need that. Can you tell me about your products?
Oh, Star, did you? Yeah. How often does that happen, right? Where we go through that whole process and all of a sudden they're actually asking about us. They want to know. It makes it so worthwhile. Okay, Vincent, how about
It
you?
is true.
Oh,
It's
sorry,
worked for
Star.
me multiple times.
Yeah,
I was just saying
right?
it has worked for me multiple times where out of the blue, I'm not even expecting it, and it turns into a sale.
Yeah. And how much of that is because A, you're cool as a cucumber, right? Like you are not trying to sell
Hmm.
them. You're just having a conversation. And they self-identify as having the problem you solve. Cool.
Yep.
Yeah. Thanks, Star. Okay, Vincent, what about you?
Yeah, so I guess a win for me in the past month was I had a client earlier this year, and it was a couple months later, I guess like earlier last month, where I kind of just reached out to them, kind of checked in on them, and then the I think 2 weeks after they sent me a referral, and
Mm-hmm.
then didn't even say anything about it. I just got a call. It's like, hey, blank gave me your number and said that like you could help me look into, I work in health insurance, so looking into health insurance. And
Mm-hmm.
then I think I closed that sale, I think within the week. And
Mm-hmm.
then at the end of that same week when I closed, I actually got a call from a referral from the two of them, where they both had vouched for me. And so I was able to help them that third referral, or I guess
Yeah.
second referral.
Yeah. Yeah. You want to get to the point where so much of what our conversations are, like whether they're client facing or whether they're networking, is we're trying to build like a massive team of ambassadors that are going to go out and speak about us when we're not even in the room. And that's what's happening. They're having that conversation and it's, hey, Vincent solved this problem for me. He's amazing. He was so helpful, very, very efficient. You should reach out to him. There's so much value in that.
Yeah, it's been really nice, and then I've recently been trying to implement to sending out kind of just like thank you cards to all of my
Mhm.
clients after the sale, and then any kind of like special events or kind of special thing that might be relevant to them, or maybe even a holiday, whatever kind of comes to mind.
Yeah. Yeah, it goes a long way, right? If I've got your thank you card in the mail and I'm paying attention to that and I happen to have that conversation on the cul-de-sac and somebody needs health insurance, how much more likely am I going to be like, "Oh yeah, Vincent sent me that card today and I just saw his number." And also I know where his business card is because it's attached to that card. Yeah. Okay, Star, it looks like your hand is up too. I don't know if that's from last time, maybe. Okay. All right, everybody. I will leave you to go and make some more sales. We are usually done at 4:30, but we're going to cut out a little bit earlier unless there's any other NIA business that needs to be happening. Um, but I really appreciate it. And I will take the time without a doubt to respond to all of your text messages and get you those questions. And I want you to take the time, carve out a little bit of CEO time and ask yourself these questions. And if you need help, here's the offer. I am here. I have been a member for 4 years. I sales coach people every single week, and I'm happy to help you make some big changes in your numbers going forward.